I just put up in that motherfucking.
The Republican Party in Minnesota has nominated Royce White for a Senate candidate. I found it interesting because just a few years ago, he was a pretty staunch Democrat, and he was saying quite some interesting things as it related to the George Floyd death there in Minnesota. So here's one video I found interesting. Here's Royce White.
And our favor will now be done. But one of the actions that we need to take is we need to start transforming the police department from the inside.
And that's him talking about transforming the police department. Again, this is a Republican nominee for Senate. Here's another video of Royce White.
He agrees that it was wrong. He saw what we all saw. Why is he not here getting maced with us? Why is he not here facing the tear gas with us? Before you clap, I didn't come for the claps. I'm just gonna talk real shit until y'all ready to go. Somebody else come grab the mic and we're gonna have a real talk right here. We're gonna cut the shit.
And again, this is the Republican nominee, and he's talking kind of like a street guy here, cutting the shit. I'm gonna talk my shit. More interestingly is that at this point, they've shut down the Hennepin Bridge, so they've disrupted the traffic flow for a lot of residents. And I don't think I've ever seen a Republican candidate shutting down traffic in protests and talking in that language. And I mentioned other grifters of sort that come into white spaces or Republican Party, and they just don't fit the mold, and it slips out in situations like this where he's not talking like your typical Republican. And so here's another article that I saw about Royce, and here he is speaking.
There's a reason, Royce, that you started this at the Viking Stadium. You were sending a very clear message.
Yeah, thank you for having me, first of all. And I'll get to your question in a second, but I just want to start off by saying that, I'm a little emotional this morning, so bear with me. But, George Floyd was murdered in cold blood. And the people here in Minnesota are so sorry to his family and his children for their loss.
Again, this is a Republican candidate for the Senate in Minnesota expressing all of this regret for George Floyd, a drug addict roaming around in the middle of the day, passing counterfeit bills.
This is completely unacceptable. It's not acceptable for us, and we won't stand for it. The reason why we started at US Bank Stadium, to answer your question, is because if you take a look back now, Colin Kaepernick and his stance was definitely prophetic. And there's no stronger symbolism in our time right now for protests than what he has already laid the groundwork for.
You say, had they just listened to Kaepernick, had they just listened to some of the voices that speak the truth, some of this could have been avoided. 2016, you had an encounter with police that left you feeling and fearful that you could end up like George Floyd. You have lived this. Where do we go from here? Is this the moment for actual change?
Hey, this is the Grifter answer here.
Well, I hope it's the moment. I know it's the moment for myself and a lot of the people that have come out to support in the immediate aftermath here in Minnesota. There's definitely a different energy. There's definitely a different level of support and commitment. I think where we go from here is we have to take a strong look at rebuilding this thing from the ground up.
And there you go. And he's the one that wants to be in charge of the rebuilding because he'll get the money. And what will he do with the money? It shows up almost immediately once he starts running for office.
Total disbursements in the 24 campaign were $1.482 million. Okay. So just under 1.5. According to the itemized list of your expenses, a little more than 1 million went to credit card processing fees.
Yes.
Can you explain that?
Well, yeah, since the beginning of my time in politics, I've actually been very critical and outspoken about the way that money is raised in politics, especially regarding digital fundraising. What I didn't know when I first started politics was how a few companies or individuals or organizations are the bundlers of Republican voter data all across the country. And candidates are forced to either buy these bundled lists of emails up front at a pretty high cost, or they can do what you would call a rev share model, which is, in my opinion, and I've said a number of times on the record, completely a gyp for the average American voter. However, and why I say that is some of these deals end up being 85-15%. So for example, if a Republican in Nebraska likes a Royce White in his message, he gets an email and, it's Royce White, ultra MAGA candidate, and he donates $100. 85% of it is usually going to the guy who bundled that data. And so when I ran against Ilhan in 2022, I was unwilling to even participate in that. In 2024, somebody who was.
And here's what he really spent the money on. Here's some reporting where he's being challenged on
I
this.
think you're fooling.
So the people who
I answered your question.
reports,
I answered the question.
I'm
The
trying to
question is no.
understand it, Royce. The people who
question is no.
prepared the reports.
The answer is no. The answer to your question is no.
I haven't even asked the question yet.
You did. You asked, did I spend campaign finance money on strippers? The
And you
answer is
responded, and now I want to ask a follow-up.
no. Okay.
Your claim is there were filings which said you spent campaign funds at a strip club, but they were incorrect filings.
No, they didn't say that I spent the funds at a strip club. Or no, let's say they didn't say that I spent the funds on strippers.
But it was spent at a strip club.
Well, strip club they sell food at the strip club, don't
So
they?
you've spent the money on food at a strip club. Is that more accurate?
You seem to be very unfamiliar with strippers and strip clubs and drag strip shows. So I'll inform you, maybe
Please.
you aren't informed, that they do have food at strip clubs.
So what you're saying is the money was
No, wait,
spent
did
at
you
a
know
strip
that though?
club.
Did you know that?
I know strip clubs have
Have you ever been to a strip club?
One time.
And so here it is. This is a typical black way of debating. He's saying, hey, you didn't know that they sell food at the strip club? He's totally avoiding the issue that it's kind of objectionable to be spending campaign money at a strip club no matter what, because it opens you up to these type of questions. And now he's going to spin it back on the guy, typical black maneuver. And he goes, have you ever been to a strip club? And so now he's the guy being truthful to this black who's not being honest, or not being genuine, I should say. Now he's going to spin it on this guy, put him on the defense, say, you've been to strip clubs, what the hell are you criticizing me for?
Did you like the food?
No.
You got to go to better strip clubs then.
Okay. But so what you're saying is you did spend the money at strip clubs, but on food. Is that right?
Well, I'm not saying that I spent the money. I'm saying that there was a filing on my FEC report that shouldn't have been there and potentially should have been reimbursed by somebody who may have been at the strip club, but that there is food at the strip club. So to say it was spent on strippers is not based on factual evidence.
I didn't say that.
This is the classic tact of the low IQ blacks is that they try to split the baby again, but he's missing the bigger issue is money should not have been spent at the strip club with campaign contributions.
Not from the day that you did.
I said it's strip club, not strippers.
No, well, okay. Well,
Which is
that's
the
what's
same thing you're
implied
saying,
by
right?
the Daily Beast.
It's the same thing you're saying, right? So we
But
agree.
that's what's been implied by the Daily
Money
Beast
was
and other
spent
people
at
as well.
a strip club by someone else in your campaign on
That's
food.
what's been implied by the Daily Beast and other
That's what's being reported, not implied.
mainstream media outlets as well.
And what's the truth?
I just told you.
Someone else bought food at a strip club with campaign funds.
No, I told you about the FEC filing. You seem to have a lot of time for this one.
Well, it's because you're so obviously lying.
Oh,
And you very rarely hear a guy interviewing someone just calling him an outright liar.
okay. I'm so obviously lying.
Yeah, just tell me the truth. So did a staffer spend money on food at a strip club?
You white liberals have a
Directly to race. Typical.
lot of nerve.
That's
You white
identity politics.
you white
So,
liberals,
Royce, hold
you
on a
white
second.
liberals,
Hold on
you
a
white
second,
liberals
Royce.
hate when black men vote Republican.
Yo, this is so classic.
And you hate when black men say that they like being American citizens. You hate when black men say that we want to have a border. You hate when black men say, stop sending our money to the Ukraine. And you go to the WWE politics to
Hold on a
try and
second,
defend your
Royce.
latent racism. That's
Hold
what
on
it
a
is.
second, Royce. Hold on a second, Royce. Aren't you against identity politics?
Absolutely.
So what are you talking about white liberals for, especially when
Wait, what do you
I'm
mean?
a Hispanic
Wait.
Jewish immigrant from Argentina?
Jesus Christ.
Right, but you have a white liberal ideology. That's what they're funny about.
Oh, that's something different. All right, Royce, listen, when you start hurling
No, you
stuff
do.
around like that,
You do.
we do have to end the interview.
You have a
all right?
post.
There you go. This is a low IQ black on display here. Everyone that looks white is white to a black, and at the core, he involves in identity politics because, as you saw just a few years ago, he was deep down in the muck of identity politics. It's almost funny. It's almost funny watching these grifters do this dance around as they grift for money, going from one party and one group to the next. Anyway, I am John Gall, and this has been quite an hilarious expose of Royce White. I wanted to go into more detail about his mental illness. He say he has mental illness. We'll probably be covering him later since he seems to have political aspirations that may put him in the news going forward. Once again, hit the like, share, subscribe. Thanks again. I am John Gall, the Urban Landlord. This nigga has the motherfucker, by the way. Let me go fast forward. I am the nigga John Gall. This high ass nigga.
They don't dance no more. It's all about the lead. Back in the day, crack was jumping on.